We're going to officially get started. So, first of all, thank you for everybody for coming. This is really a passion project for me. Happiness changed my life, and I think happiness can change everybody's lives. And I think it should be taught in school. I think it's a skill. And many of us face issues over time at different points. And those of us who are lucky enough to overcome, we figure out strategies to overcome. And so this series that we're doing is real people, real strategies, real impact. And my initial goal was to change somebody's life, and that seemed like a high goal. But I think already from the feedback, we have changed people's lives. Somebody reached out to me, told me they had um, an 8-track player that played their worst hits over and over and over again. And when you're listening to your worst hits, that impacts every day of your life. Now, sometimes it's loud and sometimes it's low, but it has a huge impact. And they talked about some actions that they were taking to change that. Somebody came after Chris did her presentation last month and said, "Hey, I thought I hit my peak." And thinking that the best is behind you, again, I think is a difficult way to live. Now, for me, staying up late and being productive at work the next day, those best days are way behind me. But at 60, I believe I'm doing the best work I've ever done and having the biggest impact. And so I think changing your definition of what the best is important, because again, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to stay up late again and hop into work and do what I need to do. But there's many definitions of what the best is. And so if you're not optimistic about tomorrow, I think that also has a huge impact on you every single day. And I feel very lucky as a leader that I'm allowed to do this, but also as a leader, I've seen the impact. And I've seen people thrive, and not because they've made the extra call a day. I've seen people thrive because they've changed their narrative with themselves. And I've seen people blossom, and that's really what we're trying to do here. Another thing that we're trying to do is, as this organization grows, we have the ability to do these type of things because we don't sell happiness. And if I could figure that out, I would. We'd do good. We'd make a lot of money, but we don't sell happiness. But we want to have an impact on the people who can have an impact on us. So in many ways, this is a gift to our community and a gift to the people who have an impact. Nothing is easy. Big thank you to our sales support team. If you could give yourselves, appreciate all the effort and help and the coordination of all this. Big thank you to Phil, who allows me to kind of do a passion project and doesn't say, "Don't we have other stuff to do?" And that's certainly appreciated. Appreciate everybody here, who is taking the chance and listening. And again, I hope you get a wow moment. I hope you hear something today. And although we have all different stories, they're our stories. And the reason I like having different stories is there's different solutions. And what I say might not fit for you or might not excite you, but what Tavi says today might have a huge impact. So Tavi's going to speak in a minute, but my daughter Allie is going to speak next month, and she's a teacher. And she was really the beginning of doing this. She invited me to her 5th grade class. I loved the impact it had on the kids. The teachers invited me in for a couple years, and they obviously kept on inviting me. So I thought I was having a big impact on them. And that was really the basis. So Allie, why don't you take a minute or two, a moment, and introduce yourself and discuss what you're going to be talking about next month. And then I will flip it over to the star of our show today, and that's Tavi. So Allie, and you're on mute.
Hi, I'm Allie Wolfscale, and next month, I will be focusing on how to limit time spent when you're thinking negatively, how to be more present and live in the moment, and how to overall be a happier person. I'm going to share what worked for me, my journey, and how I now feel in control of whatever is thrown my way, both positive and negative. And all of these are easy to implement and simple changes to just make you a better you.
Well, thank you, Allie. And Allie has a class, so she had to only spend a couple minutes with us this morning. And Tavi, I've probably known for a decade-ish. right? Somewhere in there. And hearing Tavi's story and seeing Tavi, who she is today, I think this will be an incredible journey to listen to how she's overcome things, right? And unfortunately, with happiness, bad shit's still happening to you. So I'm sorry to say, I can't solve that problem. With it, it's the strategies that you have. So, Yanni, I can't spotlight Tavi for some reason. So if you could help with that. And Tavi, thank you very much. For those of you who do public speaking, that's difficult. And then to speak about your story is way, way difficult. So big thank you to Tavi and Mike and Jan, Ali and Chris who have been speaking. So thank you very much, Tavi, and an incredible story. So please.
Thank you, David. Can everybody hear me? Yes, awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I just want to say I appreciate everybody taking time out of their morning if you're here with me on the West Coast, and certainly in the afternoon, time away from your lunch break. As David said, everybody has a journey, and I'm happy to share mine. It seems like it's been a long journey, but hopefully you guys will be able to leave with some sort of golden nugget today. A lot of what I'm going to talk about may seem like, oh, that's sort of obvious, but it's one of those things that unless you keep it top of mind, unless you practice these things, it's not going to come naturally, because we've talked about this in the past. David's talked about it. Chris has talked about it. We have a tendency to point out to ourselves the things that are negative. And so it takes a lot of work, a lot of practice, and certainly intent, which is what I'll talk about this morning. Again, thank you everyone for coming. It's great to see everybody, and I'm going to share my screen. David, can you see my screen? Because I can see you.
Yep, everything's
awesome.
perfect.
All right. So the power of intent. Here we are, a little bit about me. Most of you know me, some of you don't. I reside in beautiful Tucson, where it was actually 73 degrees this morning. We're going down. Thank you very much. I've spent my professional career as an executive leader in strategic alignment, driving performance, and directing organizations towards success. Most recently, I've worked in professional services, specifically for a public accounting firm, but I've also worked with other small to medium-sized businesses in many industries across the nation, actually. For fun, I love to travel the world. I do a lot of writing and take pictures. I am a published writer and photojournalist, and I love to scuba dive again all over the world. Currently, I have the honor and pleasure of working with Phil Whitman and David Wolfskill, both on the C-suite impact side, helping organizations with just about anything they need to accomplish their goals, and then specifically with public accounting firms who are in every phase of growth or succession transition. A little bit about our agenda this morning, who I am and how did I get here. Just general terms about minimizing stress and enhancing comfort with intent. The difference between goal and intent, a lot of times they're synonymous, but hopefully I'll point it out today. It's a little bit of a nuance. The power of intent in your professional life, because a lot of us have some stress at work and certainly some stress at home. So we'll talk about some tips and tricks to look at those two areas. Then we'll go into breakouts where we have some challenges and we can hopefully share a little bit about some of our own experiences. And then we'll come back. I'll share some resources with you, and then we'll call it a morning. Again, thank everybody for coming, and hopefully you've got some nuggets today. All right, so I was a little bit of a stressed out kid. I come from a military family. Between the mid 60s and the early 80s, I went to 7 different schools in 5 different cities. I felt like things were really out of control for me, that I didn't have a lot of friends. As soon as I made them, they were gone. And I did get picked on. I think most everybody gets picked on in high school. But in any event, it was not a great experience for me during those years. And I had to focus on really how do I change things for myself. And so I graduated from high school, which was not a good scene for me, a year early, and left home. And it was then that I figured out that my decisions, the way I looked at the world, could have some direct impact on what was happening to me. Sort of an illuminating experience. So, some things that understanding your own intent can help improve with. A sense of purpose. You understand what your goal is, how you help people, how you thrive. Mindfulness, thinking about, again, practicing these things, being cognizant. Motivation. What's motivating you? What do you love to do? What makes you happy? Sense of control. Again, lack of control I felt when I was a kid. Commitment to your goals, to your future, to the things that make you have well-being. And forgiveness. You can forgive yourself, you can forgive other people if you understand a little bit about your intent and also theirs. And it can provide guidance for the rest of your life, really. Clarity on what you want to achieve, your values, your desires, and motivations to set clear goals. Identify internal beliefs like fear, self-doubt, so we can proactively address and develop strategies to overcome and really help us align our values with our long-term goals. It's a direct connection. And then again, building resistance, resilience, and understanding in the face of obstacle, what we can accomplish turns into confidence for us. Some say that we can control 90% of what's happening to us. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I do know you can control a lot more maybe than you think you can when you're having proactive and purposeful intent. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that give us stress, that attack our well-being. These are mine, and so I encourage everybody to think a little bit about what gives them fear, stress, and discomfort. Is it a loss of control and things that they can't understand or have any impact on? For me, it's too much control. I don't like to be limited. Is it fear of the unknown? That causes me stress. I don't know what's ahead of me, what's going to happen. Misunderstanding with someone in my family or someone at work. And miscommunication. I say something, you don't understand it. You say something, I don't understand it the way you mean it. Lack of communication. There's no communication at all, so you're left to your own understanding. So there's lots of things that cause stress and discomfort for people, and really identifying what those things are, part of the challenge right there. What eliminates this stress? Really, again, understanding how do I overcome those things and turn my negative to a positive. Clarity, comfort, control when you feel like your lack of control. The freedom for me, creativity and innovation, advancing at work, success, more security in relationship, more security in my job, finding love in a positive relationship, that gives me well-being, a connection to a higher spirit or your faith. So if everybody wants to just jot down, we're going to break out, as I said, later in the conversation, but what gives you stress and what eliminates it? I love to drink wine, but wine doesn't count, so we have to think of something else that's more impactful and we can put our finger on. So how do you find your intent? Again, this is for me. These are some of the things that have worked. It might be different for anybody and everybody. Think of some of the things that you can focus on to find how you jump from the negative to the positive. I like to hang out with positive forward thinkers. I think I have some friends on here. You guys know who you are. That's one of the main reasons why I love to join David and Phil's team, because they are forward thinkers, they are builders, and they are positive thinkers. Educate yourself. What's going on around you? What's happening in the world? What's happening with people? What are the trends? Make a vision board. Understand what's driving you. What are the positive things that you're moving towards? Focus on what gives you peace. For a lot of people, that might be prayer, that might be meditation, might be affirmations, might be taking a walk in the forest, could be any of those things. And as we grow, we move through life, we get to know ourselves a little bit better. I've taken strength finder tests, disc tests, predictive index tests. And so it tells me a little bit about myself and really what makes me tick. That gives you a closer connection as well. And then continue to make mistakes, reach out there, be brave, do your thing. That builds confidence, even if you don't get it perfectly right every time. Having intent in a professional setting can certainly change the way you think about your day, the way you think about your relationship with people, the way you think about your relationship with your work. Some of the things that are negative for me are when I have disagreements with people, that I'm being micromanaged, people are trying to control every little move. Sometimes we feel disrespected at work. Is that because of a misunderstanding or a lack of clarity? And a lot of times, ego can get in the way of many decisions that we're making and many thoughts that we're having. For me, turning that negative into a positive is career growth, having the opportunity to grow as a person and provide additional value, having respect at work. People value me as a contributor. Compensation, that's often hopefully correlated with the value that you're bringing. Being able to have fun, be creative and innovative, and really just finishing every day knowing that I made some kind of a positive impact on people, on businesses, but making sure that I can come up with one thing every day that I feel good about. In our personal setting, again, what is making us stressed out? What is confronting our well-being at home? Could be constraints or limitations. Again, fear of the unknown, disrespect in the home, or negative self-talk. David and Chris have talked about negative self-talk. That's a big one. We have to practice taking that out of our brain and replacing it with something else. What are some of the positive things that you move toward, that you have intent? Connection to others, love, feeling secure about who you are and your relationship with other people. This is one of my favorite things David says: be you, be great, knowing who you are, and the confidence to know that you can be yourself. Spending time as I wish, that gives me a lot of well-being. I have hopefully put things in place to know that I can spend my time as I wish, provided I have good health, and the freedom to do that. And again, wealth, security, sometimes we equate material things, but it's really, for me, not necessarily the material things, but what wealth gives me, and that is the freedom to do what I love to do. So just a little bit on something that I have figured out over time, that there is a difference between intent and goals. We talk a lot about SMART goals: specific, measurable, actionable, so on and so forth. But really, understanding the power of intent and how it can provide a more defined goal helps, as this indicates, a harmonious and effective approach to achieving our aspirations, minimizing stress, and improving overall well-being. I think you kind of need both. And let's just illustrate that a little bit, the difference between goal and intent. So my intent here is to have the freedom to travel, provide for my family, and the comfort of future stability. My goal is that I'm going to ask for a $10,000 raise on Monday. So again, specific, measurable, actionable, but the intent, the underlying intent, is to have freedom. Work towards or ask for a promotion, that's our goal. It's specific, it's measurable. But the intent for me, really, if I ask for a promotion, is to be recognized for the value and contributions while gaining additional professional value and personal confidence. We can take this into our personal lives. I want to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year, but really it's your intent to feel better, your intent to look better, your intent to be stronger and live longer for your family. So hopefully that will give an idea. And I think it helps me to separate the goal from the intent so that I can, there's lots of ways. The road to Rome can be traveled in many ways. All right, so understanding other people's intent. This is a tricky subject, but often it's given me enough pause to be able to understand why a person is doing what they're doing that's causing me stress. And I guess it's giving a person the benefit of the doubt or trying to understand where their motivation is coming from. If we understand another person's intent, can we communicate better with them? Does it lead to more clarity? Does it lead to more empathy and compassion for that person if we can see their intent and things from their perspective? Does it lead to conflict resolution? If I understand what I'm having a conflict over and I understand where that other person is coming from, maybe we can figure out how to find common goal and common solutions. And if we can understand where the other person is coming from, what their intent is, gives us the ability to negotiate. Underlying intent can be this key to a successful negotiation. If I understand what you're looking for and what you're hoping to gain, we can come to a faster, better, more mutual solution. It allows us to collaborate. Underlying intent, right? There are many ways to Rome. So David and I might have the same goal, but we might get there in a different way. It gives us really general knowledge. If I have knowledge about my boss's intent or my organization's vision or my client's intent, that gives me really a much better understanding of the perspective they're coming from and my point of action, how I can help them make an impact and we can work together. If you know why they have a problem, you can better find a solution. And then lastly, when we're at work, sometimes ego gets in the way of people's intent. Why is that person shutting my idea down? That person doesn't agree with me. Well, that may or may not be the case. And not taking those things personally because you can do a better job clarifying that person's intent is probably a little bit of an easier path to take. So if we can leave the ego, we say at the door, and understand the other person's intent, we can decrease our own stress and not fight against it. We can go with the flow. Respond instead of react. That's a big one. You're coming from a place of power rather than a place of reaction. All right, understanding others at home, other people's intent. If I understand the people's intent that I live with, will that create a more positive environment with a higher level of well-being? I think so. If my spouse or my husband is angry with me and I understand why he's angry, what is his intent? Is his intent is to hurt me? I don't think so. Maybe his intent is just to let me know he feels insecure or he's fearful about something. Why is my child acting that way? Do they need attention? Are they feeling fearful about something? Again, trying to understand where that person is coming from and really giving them the benefit of the doubt gives you more understanding and more impact over the situation. And our second example or item to discuss in the breakout, there's going to be two, and I'll remind you at the end, is to think about and give an example in your breakout of something. It could be at work, it could be at home, where maybe understanding the other person's intent gave you a different or better perspective. All right, and finally, again, these are the things that I have noticed. Maybe they're different for everybody, but how can intent ultimately change the way we think and improve well-being? It helped me to develop a more positive mindset instead of being a grouchy kid, ability to rethink and retool things. that appear to be causing me stress or trouble. If I understand where I'm coming from and other people are coming from, I can make a difference. It improves your mental strength, really, by encouraging a mindful focus. You have control or power over what your mind is doing and how you're interpreting things. Um, and you have just a general awareness of what's going on rather than a fear of it. It is a very big tool for me. It improves our overall day-to-day outlook. It helps us focus on the future. How can we impact things that matter to us and not be a recipient of negativity? Sometimes it helps remove ego barriers. It helps to understand that there are other factors or information that we may use, that we can use that we may not have seen or previously understood. If I understand why a person's mad or I've miscommunicated, it's much easier to remove that stress and remove the ego that might be in the middle of us coming to a conclusion or a solution. And really, it enhances emotional energy, just a general energy that you're having, and a mental mindset to withstand things better. It makes you stronger. A good friend of mine who's here today works out, and she is very strong on the outside, and I think very strong on the inside, and they sort of go hand in hand. You need good energy to have good health, cardiovascular, enhanced immune system, and better resilience. Chris, you talked about the last time about really how the mind and the body is so well connected. Just the last bit, some tips and tricks, focusing on intent and reason rather than looking at goals and feeling negative if they're not accomplished. Again, there are many roads to Rome. Focus on a bigger picture and understand that your world is only one perspective and that others may want to accomplish things together but differently. This helps with work, helps at home, it helps with any kind of issues that you're having. Understand what motivates you and makes you comfortable. Inner peace, family peace and happiness, freedom over your mind and negative thoughts, freedom over effort. I want to spend my time doing what I like to do. Again, align with your values and beliefs. When we're most in alignment, or I found when I am most in alignment with what's important to me, I am the happiest with the least amount of stress. That's a big, profound statement, but it means a lot. All right, so now, Yanni, if you're ready, we'd love to just go into breakouts. Some of you may know each other already, some of you might not. So if you could spend just the first few minutes sharing who you are and maybe why you decided to come today. And then some things that we asked earlier. Share something that regularly gives you stress and how considering intent of yourself or others might change that feeling. And then maybe come with something that's causing stress at work, could be last week, could be this morning, and talk about maybe how understanding another person's intent or whoever it is that's giving you that stress could help improve the situation.
So first of all, everybody coming back from groups, did you meet some interesting people?
Yes.
Right? Have some good conversations. Right? And again, I think building, as Danielle, who I'm looking at, right, building relationships is getting to know people, right? And so I think this gives you an opportunity to know people as well. So what we're going to do is Tavi's going to share some resources with you, some things that were impactful for her. And then I'm going to say thank you or something brilliant like that. And we'll let you all go back to your day. So Tavi, why don't you take back over?
Thanks, David. I mean, this is really, I think, the second to last slide, and I'm happy to send this out. There are just some links, setting daily intentions, how to set a to-be list instead of a to-do list. A couple of really great articles, how to create a vision board, and then there's a great video on YouTube. So we'll copy and paste this. But really, I just wanted to
say Yanni will send out the deck as well to everybody.
Okay, all right. So I guess we'll just, whoops, not sure what this, oh, it keeps, that's the video. All right. So second to last, Allie came on in the beginning with us. We're excited to see her speak at the end of the month on the 26th. So hopefully you all will come back and join us to listen about some tips and tricks from Allie. And I just wanted to thank everybody for joining me today. And again, hopefully you got some good takeaways and something to think about.
And so for me, I just want to thank everybody as well for coming. Big thank you for Tavi again. It's hard to talk about yourself in any perspective and then talk about some negative things in childhood, perhaps. And since I've known Tavi, I've always thought that Tavi is tough, right? And tough in a good way, not in a. And being at 17 and having the guts to make those decisions, to take action at 17, is a pretty amazing story. And I think that strength and determination has continued. And so big kudos to Tavi. Big thank you to everybody. C-Suite's here to help you, right? We do business, but we want to create a community where we help each other. I truly believe that good guys can finish good and good gals and good everything, right? Can finish first. And what we're trying to create at C-Suite is a place where we can do great work with great people, do it really well, and do it the right way every single time. So this is a blessing for me to be able to do this. This is my passion project. Big thank you to Tavi. I see Mike here as well, who's going to be, I think, our wrap-up speaker. It was great meeting you. I hope all of you leave today a little bit more positive, maybe a tip or two. And, on the outside, you can't tell what's going on the inside. So some of the people that you know and you're interacting with are struggling. Make sure that you are that positive influence, help others. And like Tavi said, be you, be great. And thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.